Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and people are asking me questions lately, and I guess this is coming from the Hodge twins because people are saying, well, the Hodge twins have gyno in some of their pictures. We can clearly see it. I haven't seen the pictures. I'm not really sure if they do have gyno or not. I actually haven't taken a close look at Kevin and Keith's nipples to closely inspect them to see if they've got gynecomastia. And so then I guess what people are asking me then as well is gyno always a sign of steroid use? And my answer is gyno is only loosely correlated with steroid use, and here's why. Particularly in the United States, because first of all, some guys are completely immune to steroid gyno. A lot of guys are so scared of gyno that they use way more AIs than they really need. They actually use unhealthy amounts of AIs when they're using their anabolics to the point to where it's actually harming their health, more so than the gear would itself, potentially. And accordingly, though, they are never at any risk of gyno because they abuse aromatase inhibitors. So really the amount of guys who really take their gear seriously, who get gyno from it, is in a minority. I would say over 50% of anabolic steroid users never get gyno from it. I mean, I would say in my experience, maybe 1 in 10 guys get gyno who use steroids for all those obvious host of reasons. On the other hand, the medical data that I've seen, I'm aware of, and again, as I haven't read this in a few years, a simple Google search will reveal medical statistics on this for anyone curious. 25% of the American male population has gynecomastia, meaning if a medical doctor were to inspect your nipples, they would say, oh yeah, you've got gyno, you've got hypertrophy of your breast tissue, basically. You've got big swollen glands under there. Problem is, a lot of guys are so fat they don't realize it. And you can't tell if a fat person has gyno or not, by the way. That's all fat tissue. That's not glandular tissue. And then when they diet down later, you can see that they have it because obesity is more correlated with it than steroid use is. And I myself was very obese at 18. I lost weight and I had very noticeable gynecomastia. And then I got rid of it by combining aromatase inhibitors with Nolvadex. Mine completely went away to where it wasn't there. And even my doctor had looked at it and said, yeah, it seemed to be gone. So, but I'm very gyno prone. That's one of the very, very few side effects I am personally prone to from anabolics. I don't get most of the other side effects. I'm just not prone to those. But that one I am, and it's probably because I'm very naturally prone to gyno. I got it just from gaining body fat, which tends to boost estrogen levels in men. So accordingly, it's far, far more common among natty males than it is among enhanced males, just statistically speaking. So no, you can't always use that as a sign. Now, obviously, if someone didn't have gyno, you saw them very, very lean, they were already an adult, they didn't have gyno, and then suddenly they gain a bunch of muscle and they have gyno, that pattern, then you would say, oh yeah, that's from drug use, because it is, because they didn't get fat. They didn't get it from hitting puberty and maybe having extra body fat and estrogen when their puberty kicked in their early teens. And that's where most men get it, is when they're teenagers. It's where the overwhelming majority of gyno cases around the world comes from. That's the biggest statistic. So if they got it as an adult after they were already at a healthy body fat percentage, that's a dead giveaway. But if someone had it already when they were 18 and they weren't even lifting or anything yet and they dieted down, they had the gyno already, it's fair to say they probably didn't get it from steroid use. So that's what you've got to look at. It just doesn't mean that someone uses gear unless it's the scenario I described where they clearly developed it after they started training and they were an adult and already decently lean. But if a fat guy diets down and he has gyno afterwards, it doesn't mean he used gear to cut. It means he just had the gyno under the fat already, and he may have had it since he was 13 or 14 years old. You just couldn't see it underneath the fat. So hopefully that clarifies that point for people. And so it's only really a sign of steroid use when you see it in the type of pattern I just described. Otherwise, odds are, no, if you just accuse every guy who has gyno of having used gear without knowing his medical history, and if he actually had the gyno before, which most do, then it's not really a good tool to assess if someone's using gear or not. Nowhere near as effective as, say, fat-free mass index. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Vesuvius.